Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Entitled People. Hope you're all doing awesome today. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and let's get right into today's Reddit posts. Steal my identity? I guess? When I was 15 or so, my mother opened a bank account at her credit union in my name, made herself a joint on said account. I had no idea this existed. I was 15, I didn't even have a driver's license or a job. In my 20s, an out-of-work college dropout, as I couldn't get financial aid due to her making too much money, I got a very angrily worded letter from the IRS about unpaid taxes, about how cash appeared in my account and was transferred to another account after taxes should have been applied. My out-of-work brain was like, what money? Cue months of phone calls and letters, eventually ending with, "You're committing a crime," and me sobbing on the phone with the IRS going, I have no idea what's going on. Spoiler alert, my mother was using the account to try to dodge taxes, and it worked when I was a minor, but at 20, Uncle Sam wanted his cut. It was months of phone calls and letters, all fielded while Mom was still at work, because I was a college dropout and not in school or employed, so I was home to answer them. I was aggressively applying for any job within driving distance for a busted-up 96 Ford Explorer, which got 10 miles per gallon on a good day. Eventually, I got elevated to an IRS agent high up enough in the hierarchy to give me a straight answer. There was a bank account in my name, with my mother as joint on the account, who knew my social security number, date of birth, her maiden name, the name of my first pet, and the name of the street I grew up on. Because yeah, she should know those things. She's my mother. I told the IRS, do whatever you need to do to close this account, and here's my mother's contact info. She has no idea to this day how the IRS found out her scam, and I will take that secret to the grave. Think $15K or so that she owed in back taxes, that she begrudgingly paid, out of her nest egg that she had been building up, in my name. F you, Karen. I don't care if I'm written out of the will. Not that she even knows what Reddit is, but hey, miracles happen. Treat me like dirt? I hope you enjoy the cold. I worked as a mechanic in the Air Force for 9 years, but it took until year 3 before I finally convinced Command to send me to get licenses to drive the vehicles I had been working on. Just military things. The driving courses are a 10-day-long Army run event, so I ended up at an Army base, midwinter, with a driving instructor that hated the Air Force, taking every chance he could to smack-talk me. A bit of fun rivalry is to be expected, but this was something else. First day on the course, he singles me out, saying, "As you can see, we have a chair force lad here, and he turns out to be a mechanic," sarcastically saying afterwards, "Make sure to be careful with your rigs so he won't have to fix them for you." First 2 days, he rides my ass to look at small things he deemed critical, forcing me to crawl around in the mud and snow. I was supposed to be there to get my licenses, and not be a mechanic. Jump to day 3 when I get a call on the radio asking me to have a look at the instructor's vehicle. He says, "Chair Force, get yourself here, I have a coolant leak in the cab. Let's see if they teach you anything other than how to drink coffee and stand around." "No problem, Sergeant, on the way." Using the onboard tools, I take a look at the vehicle. I notice a split heater core hose dripping into the vehicle. For reference, the heater core turns hot coolant into heat for the cabin, and it's snowing outside. Knowing full well I could shorten the hose and it would be fine, I chose to disable the heater core completely, telling him, "Sorry, Sergeant, the heater is busted, and I can't allow for the coolant leak, so I had to disable it." He was absolutely fuming. He spent the next week driving around in his ice-cold vehicle looking absolutely miserable, taking every moment to complain about the cold and the crap Air Force mechanic. I just laughed from the comfort of my warm truck. He definitely deserved that. If you're gonna treat someone like absolute trash and then actually expect them to fix things for you, when that's not even what they're there for in the first place, then yeah, you get what's coming to you. I also don't understand why some people in the military hate other branches of the military. It just doesn't make any sense. They're all just other sides of the same coin. Entitled woman thinks she can drive across wet asphalt. I'm a 28-year-old female truck driver. This takes place at one of my customers, which happens to be a Walmart. They are currently under construction. Normally, customer cars will come back by the truck docks and go around back to get to the grocery delivery, because it's much faster than fighting with traffic on the other side of the building. I don't blame them. but it's currently all blocked off and barricaded due to construction. I had my manager meet me at the store and only move one barricade, so I could squeeze in to do a trailer swap so that we could get all their stuff shipped. Part of the reason those barricades are up is to keep cars away from where I'm working. In the 5 minutes it takes for me to do this, I had not one but 3 cars drive back by where I'm working. This is the following conversation I had with one extremely entitled woman. I wave frantically for her to turn around. She rolls down her window and says, "Excuse me, I need to get through here." "No, you don't. You need to turn around and go around front," I said. "But I need to get to my grocery pickup. Can you just move those cones?" "No, I can't. They just laid that road down. You have to go around." "But why are you here?" she asks. "Lady, I'm working. They let me back here to do my job. You need to turn around and go the other way." "Can't you call a manager?" "No, I don't work for Walmart. You need to go around." Finally, she turns around and I finish my job. I just can't believe that happened. That woman had to squeeze between construction signs and past a bunch of giant pieces of equipment to get back here. My mom kicked me out of the house over family drama that she and my sister started. A little background. My sister has always been more like my mom and I have always been more like my dad. I realize I've always been the golden child in my dad's eyes, and it has made my sister jealous, but she never took it out on me. Until yesterday. My parents got divorced around 4 years ago, and up until now none of our family arguments have gotten this intense. I'll keep it short because it's a really long story. Basically yesterday my mom was talking to the neighbor, and the topic of my dad's new girlfriend came up. My mom asked me if I had met her and I said yes, to which she responded by straight up asking me, "I'm prettier, right?" Now the only reason I didn't respond with yes right away is because I was baffled that she would even ask me that. I then refused to respond because I didn't like being put on the spot like that. When I returned to the house of a family friend I'm currently house sitting for, my sister texted me asking what was wrong with me and demanded to know why I said dad's girlfriend was prettier than mom, which I never even explicitly said. I tried to explain civilly but firmly that I was tired of being her and mom's weasel and providing them with information about my father and his girlfriend. I also said I'm tired of being their scapegoat and getting blamed when things go awry. My sister got angry and responded by telling me things like "F you" and "knock yourself out, maybe you'll fall off your high horse." Then my mom came to the house. Yes, she actually invaded my space again and demanded to talk to me. Called the effing police on me. And ultimately decided she was going to kick me out of the house, shut off my phone service, and make me move in with my dad. My dad came over last night along with my aunt, his little sister, who's in town, and they brought me dinner and comforted me for a little while. Today I did some things to distract myself from the fact that my life is falling apart at the seams, but as of right now it's putting me back in the same dark place I was last night. My mom is still keen on kicking me out, and I don't know how long it will take before she realizes and admits she was wrong for putting me in this position. I'm not holding my breath because she's a bit of a narcissist and does not like to apologize for anything, even when it is undoubtedly her fault. And this time it certainly is. I just hope it doesn't get much worse from here. Finally had a nasty Karen waste my time. Since I am deaf, I rarely have to deal with annoying Karens, because I rely on American Sign Language as an anti-Karen trick, but today one went out of her way to get police involved. To start, I borrowed my dad's minivan. He has a handicap plate, but since I don't have a handicap, deaf doesn't qualify for handicapped parking. I park in normal spots instead. My dad was not with me today, so there's another reason not to park there. When I stopped at a Walmart store for a quick shopping, I found an empty spot next to a handicap spot very close to the doors. I had just gotten out when a Karen stopped behind my minivan and started yelling at me. I couldn't understand what she was saying and used my anti-Karen trick, ASL. I signed, "I can't understand you," but she kept yelling at me and pointing at the van. I ignored her and went into the store. I came out about 15 minutes later to see her still blocking my minivan and a police car coming in. Thankfully for Officer Smiley, not real name, he seemed to be smiling a lot, even with crappy Karen and 90-degree Fahrenheit heat. He can use his lips well, so I was able to understand him without needing ASL or a deaf interpreter. It's when I found out she called because I illegally parked in a non-handicapped spot I'm like, the f***? I explained the minivan belonged to my dad, who does use handicap spots, but since he was not with me and I do not need a handicap spot, technically I am not supposed to use a handicap spot and parked in a normal spot. Karen's reasoning was I had to use a handicap spot because of having a handicap plate, and it was illegal for a car with a handicapped plate to park in a non-handicap spot. Officer Smiley thought she was just mad because I had a great non-handicapped spot in an otherwise crowded parking lot, and she didn't want to walk halfway across the lot in this heat. She was hoping I'd move like she demanded, and her mind broke because I didn't move. I was free to go, and I saw Officer Smiley hand her a ticket, I guess for misuse of 911 services. I still had to wait for her to move her car so I could go home and type this up. Well, if you had asked nicely. I just came inside after tending to my garden. My blueberries are early this year, and I spent a little over an hour picking them. The Karen across the street decided to come out and lecture me about how she doesn't like how my netting looks. I tried to explain that if I don't net, then the birds eat all of the berries. Somehow that just launched her into a new lecture about how I must be, quote, one of those crazy environmentalists, and how stupid environmentalists are. I ignored her. When I was done, I walked away from her without saying anything. She asked, "Hey, aren't you going to give me any? You gave so-and-so some yesterday." I replied that so-and-so had asked nicely, and didn't lecture me for an hour about being stupid. Besides, how could she want something that was a product of techniques she despised? She gave me a disgusted look and stomped back into her house. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that like button, I'd really appreciate it. And also subscribe to the channel for more. So have an awesome day, and I'll see you next time.